And we are live with yet another instructive and educational live stream for project managers hosted by a project manager. So, hello and welcome. If you are new to this channel, my name is Dmitro Nishbetsky. I'm a project management mentor, and today we'll be talking about program management. This is the next level step for majority of project managers, and I'll explain what it is, what skills you need, and how it looks like, what you should expect, and all the good stuff. So to help me understand a bit more about where you're coming from, especially in this direction of the career, please use the chat, say hello, and let me know your title. Is it a project manager or something else? And that will help me to adjust the material that I'll be explaining today. So, and before we jump into the material that I'm prepared for you today, I just want to say that program management, as you will learn in this live stream, is based on project management skills in essence. And you need to develop expert level project management skills before you can become a program manager. And I have for you the professional development plan. It's totally free. Scan the barcode or go to the itpmschool.com/plan, get the access to the plan, and it will help you to develop the right skills. All right. With that said, let's dive in right into today's material. And first of all, we definitely need to go through definitions and ask yourself, like, what is program management? And if you go online, if you go to PMI sites and you ask what is project management, you, as always, get this nonsense definition that means a little and explains none. So program management is the application of knowledge and skills. What knowledge and skills? To achieve program objectives and to obtain benefits and control not available by managing related program components individually. And as you see, like it's very general. And by the way, if you go and start learning skills specific for program managers, you will quickly notice that they're not very specific for that. But you also have an embedded definition here. So what is a program? And a program is a group of related projects managed in a coordinated way to obtain benefits and control not available from managing them individually. And here's an important part as I see it. Programs may contain elements of work outside of the scope of the discrete projects in the program. Stay with me. I will give you examples of a program. We'll actually go through an imaginary program life cycle. I'll show you around. So, but I recommend here that we take a different perspective, like how does project management compares to program management and why it's a bit different beast. So if you are a project manager, then most probably like you saw this in your experience. If you're a junior project manager, you lead some small projects, maybe 1, 2, maybe more, but usually these are unrelated projects. You maybe develop them for different clients, or these are different products and services, and so on. And as a mid-level project manager, usually you just get more projects, and maybe one of them is much bigger than the rest. But basically, again, they're independent components or different products that you develop. Then when you become a senior project manager, we're still in the project management area, you get more clients, more applications, more services that you develop at the same time. But from time to time, you'll start getting these dependent projects that, like, for example, you have 2 Scrum teams developing one and the same product, but you still lead them, or you have direct control over the teams. And that's why it's still kind of a level of project management. And you can increase the number of projects. It doesn't matter. There is no definition for that. The things Well, in this case, still the same, because you will be mostly leading the projects within the same nature of work, like software development, IT projects. Maybe you will just have some UX sub projects. Maybe you'll have some data projects. And this is like the variety that you get as a project manager for one client or for different clients. When it gets more complicated, when it gets to the product or to the program management, actually, is when you need to run a project, a program, or a number of projects which pursue one goal or transformation, or which develop one product or service. And this creates a lot of complexities because at the same time, you need to coordinate the work, for example, of software development teams. Then you'll have a separate DevOps team to build infrastructure, and yet another team of data analysts who are not the part of the software development teams to do the data transformation project. And on top of that, you should always be compliant with legal regulations, so you have the whole team or representative from the legal department that work on your project, and they also have deliverables that are aimed at the completion of this product or service. So when we talk about products and services, this is a kind of a simple program. But when it goes a level deeper and we need to ensure the business transformation or process transformation, that's when it gets more exciting and you get another level of complexities. And usually you have your projects, and as it comes from the definition, you may have some additional work that goes outside of the scope of these development projects. You'll have to do a lot of change management. So transformation like equals to change management by default. So with that said, do we have program managers here, or do we have project managers who are willing to go into the program management right now? Say yes in the chat if that's you. And we have Gleb here. We have Sadie. Sadie, hello. Glad to see you all here. So if you are thinking about going into a program management like path, career path, there is probably one thought that you have, or one fear that you have, that you don't have the right skills. Because if you look even into, like, I don't know, main resources on program management, there are a lot of things related to program initiation and program benefits realization, and it sounds like something completely different, something that project managers never do and never experience. And there is like yes and no, like there is some part of this statement is true, but if you go and look into the majority of programs out there, you will quickly notice, and unfortunately I don't have any statistic, I couldn't find it online, but I assume that it will just follow the normal distribution, and based on how project management maturity is structured, it will be approximately the same. So that majority of programs, they are more about program execution, and the amount of efforts and skills you need will always be around program execution than anything else. Because if you go into different sections or life cycle of the program, you'll read about program initiation, how you need to identify the benefits that you need to deliver, how you need to create a program charter, and how you need to form this program, identify the projects that you need to do. And maybe, yeah, at some point of your career, you will get such a program where you just do it from scratch, end to end, without any simplifications that I'm going to explain today. But for majority of new program managers, like when you just get into the program management world, you will probably discover that you will get one of these simplified programs where execution is the main part and benefits realization is mostly the part of the product or service or change management life cycle inside the organization. So if you have this fear, it's because it's very easy to believe that I'm as a project manager with like 10 years of experience, I'm still not ready to become a program manager because I lack the skills of running a program from start to end. I get it. This sounds scary because programs are bigger than projects usually. It's more responsibility and more complexity. But looking at this picture, you need to understand that most probably you will spend most of your time doing very expert level project management. And all the aspects or all the nuances of program management uh, will not bother you. Okay, with that said, I want to like show you the types of real world programs that I feel like you can experience. And number one is the execution focused programs. This is where you just do the uh, most heavy lifting is done on execution phase, where it's like, okay, we have multiple projects or multiple teams that are developing the same product or service. Make sure that they are aligned and they are not blocked by each other. Then we have product lifecycle programs, as I call them. These are just in IT industry. It's a kind of product development. You develop a software product which has multiple components, usually software development, IT components, maybe some additional content or legal stuff that you need to align with. But in essence, the benefits realization part is all about getting this product to the market or to the production environment. And there is a serious process that you must follow in order to finish the development and get to the market because of some compliance stuff and so on. And it becomes like a program after you did the complex implementation. And then we have the theoretical end-to-end program. This is how it's described in the books. And I would say, from my experience, from my mentoring programs, I see that it's about 10% of programs that people get, usually like end-to-end theoretical. All the rest are either execution or product lifecycle. And again, it's mostly about IT industry. Maybe some other industry are more trended towards theoretical end-to-end programs. So if you are still interested in this career path, in this knowledge area, let me give you some examples, because I believe that showing examples is much better than trying to give you theoretical skills that you will never use. So when you get into the execution-focused programs, here's what you need to understand. The program initiation is usually very simplified, and it means like here's the group of projects and maybe some additional people and resources that participate in this program. Help them to implement the product by the deadline, and that's the whole goal of the program. And the benefit is very straightforward. We just need to get this product done and get it to the market. And then there is this huge part of program execution, and in the end you will have benefits realization which look like, let's get to the market, release it, start promoting, and get the revenue from this product. And the most important thing, that in the middle, everything related to program execution in these cases is usually project management. Yes, it's a like expert level, professional level project management, where you need to apply a lot of correct project management ideas, tools, and concepts to keep it under control. And you will have to know a lot of stuff. That's something that I teach inside my courses and programs, to the level where you can actually use it in program management. Now, if it's a product lifecycle, the only thing that changes here is that you will probably have a process to get to the market, and you need to follow it. You need to put it into the plan in advance to ensure that you don't run out of the resources or time before you get to the production environment. So it's like you must know all the phases of this program, not only the execution or implementation of the product. All right. This is simplified versions. This is something that you will get most of the time, but of course, you want to be great project managers and program managers, and probably you want to know what happens actually on real programs, on these theoretical end-to-end programs. And we'll explore just a bit on an example of program aimed at rolling out a new CRM system to improve customer service. And if you read theory, you will definitely learn that program should have, like any project, by the way, should have a goal. And when you start it, the goal, for example, in this case, we need to implement a new CRM system to improve customer service and make banking more efficient. How do you identify this goal? Basically, if you are a program manager, you definitely need to communicate with executive level stakeholders in the organization and understand what are the business goals and needs of the organization. And most of the time, these goals will come from the top down. They come to you as a goal. And your goal, your responsibility would be to ensure that you form the program or initiate the program in such a way that it is aligned with this goal. Next important step, again, theoretically, you need to identify expected benefits. And if in project management, we often think about the main benefit of the main goal is to finish the project on time, within budget, and like ideally within scope that was identified. In programs, it's very much about real benefits for the organization. So the next step would be to identify expected benefits. And we usually express them in certain things that are relevant for the business, for the strategic goals of the business, rather than simply for finishing a project. So we can say in this case, for example, and again, it comes from executive level stakeholders, your vice presidents, and people like that, who need to explain why we need to implement a new CRM system. What's the benefits for the organization? And in this case, after maybe communicating with them, we can identify, okay, we want faster customer support. We want to reduce average call handling time from 9 minutes to 5 minutes. And higher customer satisfaction. They might have some internal net promoter score, and this is an internal KPI that they want to increase from 65 points to 80 points. Then better sales conversion. They want to increase cross-selling success rate from 5 to 15. For example, on calls with customers, they want their agents to upsell them with better credit cards, better options, better maybe insurance or stuff like that. So that's why we're implementing the CRM system in this program. But you need to notice here that installing the CRM itself is not a strategic objective. So it's not something that you should focus too much. And it's not something that you should, I would say, zone in as a program manager, because you want to ensure that you are focusing your efforts, focusing your attention on achieving the benefits or realizing the benefits in the long run. And you leave the implementation to project managers that work with you. Okay, then we probably have to identify key performance indicators for the program. And this is something completely different from project management, I should say, because these, again, key performance indicators for the organization, for the business, and you usually don't see the improvement in these KPIs right away. That's why the program's life cycle extends beyond usually finishing the main projects. And when you get into benefits realization part, it's a separate set of activities that you need to perform. And for example, in this case, we'll identify that based on the benefits we want to achieve, we will track the call handling time. We'll measure the time from call center logs to ensure like improvement before and after implementation of the CRM. And just to be clear, CRM stands for Customer Relation Management Tool. Now, customer satisfaction, there is a score, and it's a post-service customer survey. Ideally, it should be implemented, but again, to control this metric, you need to know before and after, so you'll start tracking it right away and take the logs from previous surveys. And sales conversion rates, we'll see based on CRM-generated reports on cross-selling success. These are the key indicators, and the question is, okay, how do I know how to get that? How do I identify those? And basically, it boils down to working with your stakeholders. It's not something that you invent yourself, because if you go into any larger organization, any enterprise, they do have some KPIs per department, per role in the organization that they try to improve, track, and so on. Sometimes is as complicated as this, or it may be as simple as revenue or the costs of operation. So now what we have next. Let's move on. So when you have the benefits that you want to realize and you know the KPIs, you need to identify what projects you need to do. And like on the surface, it's like implement new CRM system to improve customer service, but it might be a set of projects. First of all, to collect the requirements for this whole endeavor, including the change management, including the current processes, and so on. Next, when we go to the last KPI, we'll need to create new sales scripts for agents to use to upsell the services. This is a completely different type of work and definitely different type of expertise that you need compared to the IT guys who will implement the software. You will need to set up CRM generated reports, because I'm pretty sure they're not will not work out of the box for the organization. And then usually there is, if it's a banking industry, there should be some compliance and cybersecurity questions that you need to align for the new system and get maybe certified, maybe tested, and so on. So again, how do we define the projects here? Nothing new under the sun. This will be all about thinking, brainstorming, working with available subject matter experts, maybe in this case consulting with external subject matter experts to identify what specific tool is better to use, what vendors are available to do this, and so on. And together you will identify the high-level scope in terms of deliverables for this program. So good. Let me see if you have any questions. I see a lot of activity in the chat. Okay, we'll get through this. All right. Thanks for answering to Lab and supporting that I really like the community vibe. Uh, all right, let's then move on. And if there are any questions outside of the scope of this session, I'll be answering them at the end. All right. So next we go into the program execution. And I would repeat myself maybe here that essentially this will be program management in execution phase is the high level project management. You definitely need to understand project management on very deep level. You need to understand how IT department works. You need to understand how other departments work, how they align together. And we'll talk about what are the best approaches to organize and establish some governance around these projects. But the idea is that you need project management skills. You need experience in using tools like work breakdown structure. You need very powerful skills in stakeholder management and leadership communication, strategic vision, and so on and so on. So I will again suggest you to get the development plan, get through the list and identify the areas that you might be lacking right now. And most probably you'll find the corresponding resources, templates inside the professional development plan that I have here. And it will help you to cover the gaps and prepare fast for the role of a program manager. Just scan the barcode with your phone or go directly to itpmschool.com/plan, or you can find the link below this video. I'm pretty sure it's everywhere. With that said, let's move on. So let's assume now we moved through our program and we need to start to think about benefits realization, because like project managers, program managers should be proactive and they should plan at least few steps ahead. Ideally, like they have to have a strategic vision of the whole program. And let's assume by the middle of the program execution, we already installed the new CRM. We selected it, we installed it, integrated it with our existing databases and other services. And at this point, we notice that frontline employees who are actually need to use it find it complicated. And the customer experience based on the surveys that we are tracking right now actually show that the experience is worse because of delays, because these agents struggle to use the new system. They don't know what buttons to click. It takes too much time to find different pieces of information and so on. So how to fix this? Definitely, like not how to fix this, but first you need to have systems and structures in this program in place to start tracking this very early on. And you need to identify it not at the end when everything is done and you are like releasing it to the whole organization. So in this case, you need to provide, for example, targeted training for employees before you roll out the new update. Maybe it's a good idea to make a pilot launch and use just one branch to identify all the problematic areas, unclear places. And as I said, you will want to monitor KPIs early on, and you need to react to those changes in KPIs. So you need to imagine that at this point, your scope of the program is suddenly increasing, because definitely rolling back to the old system is a bad option. So you need to move forward, and training people, explaining, getting feedback from them, incorporating this feedback into the future steps is essential. And here we're talking about typical change management, like on organizational level, not the project change management, but change management on organizational level. Training, education, feedback loops, communicating, observing, workshops with these employees would be a great example of tools and techniques that you can use and should be using. And ideally, if you want to be a great program manager, you would think about them in advance and you'll plan these milestones. So before going to the production with the new CRM, there should be a plan to educate everyone and do some maybe testing on staging environment, collect feedback, do some correction, and so on. All right. Let's jump and assume that we fixed the initial problem, but we finished everything we planned. So we finished the CRM implementation. We hired a marketing agency to write scripts for our products that agents can read through. We did the compliance testing, certification. Maybe we did penetration testing. Like the major projects are done. And here the program doesn't end. Our goal is to get the benefits that we plan to get. And everyone should understand, compared to project management, this doesn't happen overnight. Just because you rolled out new system doesn't mean that the outcome, the desired outcome, will just appear. So, for example, we have the case and employees use a lot of workarounds instead of fully adopting new CRM. They are maybe falling back to old spreadsheets, maybe some other tools that they used before the CRM. Customers still complain that service feels robotic because agents follow CRM scripts, and more often than not, they just read them with monotone like voice, and it doesn't sound great. And on top of that, sales team aren't using the insights from CRM, all the AI tools that they bought, and they still use their Excels to track progress. So cross-selling that they wanted to improve, so that doesn't happen. So again, how do we fix this? Ongoing training. Once again, we listen to the end users of our program, of our product that we developed, of all the changes that we implemented, and collect feedback, maybe do some corrections in CRM, maybe we simplify things, maybe we provide them with instructions, checklists, and stuff like that. And sometimes when you get into such implementations, there definitely should be process adjustments, not only inside the tool that you introduced, but in business in general. So maybe you'll need to you'll need to adjust what happens before and after, in the middle, when agents start using the CRM system, or eliminate at all other, for example, outdated reports that they used to send to their bosses after the workday. So all that requires you to be vigilant. Like you need to be among people and observe how they use it, what they do, why don't they get the results that you expected to get from this program. And once again, I want to point out that program doesn't end here, and ideally it should be within your plan that benefits realization stage will have additional work, it will require additional budgets, and at this point it's like troubleshooting the bottlenecks and finding out solutions as quickly as possible to ensure that this is a sustained benefits realization. You get benefits on sustained level, so that once the program is out and you just stop focusing on it, the systems and the processes that you implemented, new tools that you implemented, provide the benefits, that people still use them. Because quite often it happens on the contrary. The program ends, the program manager goes away, you hand off all these systems to some operations and maintenance teams, and in a few months no one is using CRM because it's too complicated, and old spreadsheets are more convenient and familiar, and everyone falls back to the comfort zone of previous life. All right, and let's assume we are getting to the to the end, and we do the benefits realization, or benefits, I would say proof of benefits post implementation. What we need to understand that most probably this program will have some everlasting new processes and workflows, such as ongoing training, because every new employee will have to train and learn the CRM, the scripts, the sales process, and stuff like that. I think there will be also some process changes because you may need to customize CRM to the needs of the agents based on their usage. Again, you will observe. Ideally, you may track some analytics installed within the CRM to see what they click, how they use it, what features they use, what features they don't use. So there might be like an additional software development project to adjust the features. And then you will be proving to the executives by reporting to them on the actual KPIs. And let's assume that like average call handling time went from 8 to 4.5 minutes, and we planned for 5 minutes. Net promoter score increased. We'll report that. Cross-selling increased, and so on. How do you report this? It mostly depends on how it happens in the real organization. So it's not something standardized. Actually, I will tell you right away that almost everything we discuss here is not standardized. Like in project management, a single organization uses the PMI's approach in project management, like the one described in PMBOK guide. Like everyone uses something customized, something difference in each and every organization. The same goes for program management. Around programs, I would say there are even more customized business-related processes, because these KPIs are like not customized at all across businesses. So you shouldn't try to find like one size fits all solutions in terms of program management. It's more about the idea, again, what I teach so much is that it's all about tailoring. You'll have to tailor this together to the needs of organization, to the project management culture, because like you cannot bring to a program ideas, KPIs, and metrics that your underlying project management teams cannot support. Now, this is like an example of a program, and based on these bullet points, based on this explanation, you can see that it's just a set of predefined projects that you identified at the start of the program, plus a lot of additional work within the organization that you must, I don't want to say to do ad hoc, but it's something that you should anticipate and plan into the program as possible additional work, possible sub-projects, and improvements. Now, what's the main challenge, or what's the main role of program manager? One big difference that you will definitely notice compared to any project management that you did is that you will have to lead the team of teams, and will probably need to lead other project managers, scrum masters, and department leaders within this program. In reality, again, if we are not talking about these theoretical programs, most probably you will be also acting as a project manager for some of these projects within the program. So you'll lead, for example, 2 software development projects, but then you'll have to partner with other project managers and operation leads or department managers who will help you with some components of the program. And definitely you will then need to partner up with HR, if you have a change management team within the organization, like everyone gets into the program. But the challenge is that unlike in project management, you don't have direct control over the teams, and you cannot jump into, for example, infrastructure team and start like planning out their work, most probably you'll have to work with a project manager who has, again, their own opinion, ego, limiting beliefs, set of skills, and you have to put it all together and find a way to collaborate with these people to ensure that they follow your vision of this program. And as it goes, I already mentioned that in program management, stakeholder management becomes like an essence, because you will have, again, to work with a lot of stakeholders. And when you have direct control over the dedicated teams, it's one thing. Then you work with Scrum Masters. They understand why you come to them, why you ask them to do the work. But there will be some other parts of the organization which will lend you resources and people, and they will have their own priorities. And quite often you will have not enough authority to go directly to this tech lead of data transformation team or function in the organization and just ask her to do the work. She would say, okay, I have different priorities from my direct manager, from my boss. I cannot miss those deadlines. Go speak to them and come back when you have agreed to something. So you will often need to go one step or one level higher and work with the bosses of these departments and so on. So again, stakeholder management becomes stakeholder management on a high level with executive level, vice president level people in the organization. Plus, you will probably have sometimes vendors that you need to manage, and this is completely a different story, but it has the same problems. So that's why when it comes to program management skills, there are two more that I would say are critical. This is a skill of clear communication. You should be able to clearly explain how you want projects to organize themselves, how they report to you, how they structure their work, what they deliver to you as the result of the project, and how you integrate these results with other projects and deliverables. But this is kind of a typical thing. Everyone understands the value of clear communication and how to develop this skill. What's more enigmatic or obscured is this strategic vision part. And I want today to focus a bit on it because I think I never spoke about it, and there is not much information on the internet that you can use to develop the strategic vision. So, what is strategic vision when it relates to program management, when it relates to what we do? So, it's a kind of a set of skills or intentions or mindset, whatever word works for you, to see beyond the delivering of a system or delivering the project or implementing a product or service. So I would say like bad or poor program managers will think like my job is to roll out CRM on time within budget, handle all the dependencies between the teams, and that's all. But a successful program manager will definitely go one step above and will always think about my job is to ensure the bank, again, we are talking about the example I shared, the bank improves customer experience, increase retention, and boost revenue. And the CRM is just a vehicle. And here I want to point out, because I think it's a common misconception. When we talk about strategic vision, this is a strategic vision of the strategic goals of the organization. It relates to strategic goals of the organization rather than strategy on how to implement the program. So when you develop and share your strategic vision of the program, you talk about how you will achieve the strategic goals of the organization by means of this program. And again, let's move on, and maybe some examples will clarify this. So number two, good program managers will anticipate and navigate risks before they become problems. And this boils down to the idea that you do need to know risk management, again, on a deeper level. And again, tactical program manager usually reacts to the issues as they arise, and the strategic will embed these problems or solutions to these problems into their program plans and proactively mitigate them. And for example, if we talk about the example of the program I shared, you can think about that additional training. If you don't assume or you don't plan in advance that implementing such a big change in the organization will not require a training session or multiple training sessions for employees, you're not looking it at a strategic level. You're like assuming that it will go on and it's not your responsibility. Okay. Number three, so you will also think about connecting IT programs to business growth. And we talked a bit about it already. We don't want to focus as program managers on delivery metrics from project management, like budget, time, and scope of work, features, and stuff like that. Instead, we are talking about improving strategic KPIs that are important for the business, like revenue and growth. How does my program impact revenue and growth? So these are just like three maybe examples or ideas that come to mind if you are like, okay, so what it is. We are just basically what it means is that we are thinking about how to achieve the business or the strategic goals of the organization. And you can simplify it again to a very simple mantra. How does my program helps to make or save money for the organization? Like I'm pretty sure in most cases it will default to that. So how do you develop strategic vision? Because that's one skill that maybe as a project manager you don't train too often. So first of all, shift from thinking about projects to business thinking. And you want to start analyzing and putting yourself in the shoes of your customers, in the shoes of your boss, seeing through their lens how your program impacts revenue and operations. Again, how does this help my company grow, or how does it help us to make or save money? You will also need to learn to see patterns and anticipate challenges. This is mostly related to risk management, but you go one step further and you identify like possible impacts on people in the organization once you change something. So it's kind of both a piece of project management, because you need to plan in advance and analyze risks, and second, you need to get into the heads of those people and understand why they resist the change. And after that, you plan all this additional work to overcome these objections, resistance into the program. So again, in-depth project management skills. And like a note for me should be super proactive whenever it comes to program management, because you must mind other people's businesses. In like literally, you need to start thinking about how do I help the business? How do I help executives to achieve their KPIs and metrics? Next, you definitely want to start talk with business leaders, not just the teams that you work with, and you need to understand what's on their plate, what goals they need to achieve, why they need to achieve right now those goals, and so on. What's the impact? What's the impact of not achieving those goals, and so on. You will also hear about how they define success for these initiatives. And this is like your way to identify the benefits that they expect. That's the way how you identify KPIs that they want to track or that will allow them to prove that the program is successful. And like future version, or how do you see the future of the organization in few years? So do you have this strategy for the future? Can you shape the vision of how this department or how this program itself, because programs may span multiple years, how it will shape the organization, the business, the industry, and so on? Number four, I already mentioned that, but you generally start thinking not in deliverables as a project manager, but in impacts, how it impacts uh, everything in the organization, every aspect of organization, not just how something impacts the process of delivery of this system. And last but not least, again, this is something that comes from my personal experience. You should be a great storyteller for your vision, both in terms of how you organize the program, how you manage specific projects, how you explain things to people. And you want to make people excited about bigger picture that you show. Even if it's like, let's implement this program successfully on time, blah, 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 you need some kind of a story that will entice people to follow you. You should show a vivid picture of the future. So if we're talking about this CRM, it definitely won't sound enticing for those agents that, hey, you'll have to learn a new system and learn new scripts, and you'll need to sell to people. Hooray, a lot of work for you. You would want to say how efficient they become. You want to say how this system will help them maybe get more bonuses because they will be upselling people and getting direct income from their work. They had bigger impact on the organization, and so on and so on and so on. You have to be a storyteller, and for that you need to identify what people value the most. You need to identify what problems they have so you can speak directly to them. As I said, you should never say we're implementing a CRM. We have a bigger goal. We try to change the company, the industry, and it would sound like we are making customer service seamless or the best in the world, so customers never have to wait in long queues again. And last but not least, for program managers, the strategic vision will also boil down when it comes to practical implementation, to leveraging resources and people. And it means that you will be the first one to consult with all available experts to make the best decisions. You should have a mindset and believe in yourself that you don't have all the answers, but you have the skills to find those answers, to find the experts, get their expertise on the table. You want to also be an expert leader and motivator so that they want to achieve the goals and pictures that you show to them. Empowering people to provide solutions. In most cases, when we are project managers, we are trying to empower people to take responsibility for processes and maybe some outcomes. Here, we need to go one level up and say, okay, I want to empower my people so that they provide the best possible solutions. They do the research, they make decisions, they maybe take risks to achieve the better future for the organization and industry. And last but not least, I think that's the last one, delegation. You probably need to delegate even more than a project manager does. And I know that it's a very painful topic and very difficult topic because a lot of project managers nowadays lead small teams, and they find it very hard to develop delegation skills, real delegation skills. And when they jump to a senior level role or a bigger project or to the program level, they just burn out because they don't know how to delegate. And they stop spending time on sharing their story of a vision. Instead, they do a lot of work, routine work, cheap work themselves. And unfortunately, they become the bottleneck. So I hope this helps. If you have any questions, I'll be here for another few minutes and try to answer them. If we can, let's maybe stick to the topic of program and project management. And after that, I'll prioritize all the other questions. All right. Now, let's see. How do I get back myself on the screen? All right. What about program governance? All right, that's a good question. Because I expected that someone was listening, at least careful enough to ask. So how do we actually organize this? And I would say, like, if you want a framework to organize a program, the best way is to organize it based on deliverables and milestones. As simple as that. So you have your, you work very hard with your project managers to identify all specific dedicated project deliverables from all the projects. You identify all dependencies between these deliverables. Based on the estimates from each separate project manager, you get everything basically. You get estimates, you get breakdown of work, resources, all that good stuff. But in terms of governance and how you manage them together, you ask them to provide specific milestones for each deliverable and maybe sub milestones on dependencies from other teams and other deliverables. After that, you provide them with templates to do the estimation for you on those metrics that you need in terms of implementation. So if you need budget, duration, resources, people, and anything else, the main point here is that you have a template to provide them so that they can give you the breakdown of work for each deliverable and in a formal way provide you with the all estimates. Ideally, it should happen all in one project management tool. And in this case, your goal is just to educate specific project managers to use this tool correctly. In terms of file management, asset management, all that, this is, I would say, beyond the topic of today's conversation because it will be all too dependent on the systems that you use in the organization. But for majority, like if you have nothing and you need to install something that will have a structure for like poor environment, I would say you need to go with Para method created by Tiago Forte. Very simple system you can install in any environment, and it's agnostic to tools and file storage and communication tools that you use. You can quickly educate people how to use it, and you will get everything structured, saved, and stored in a controlled fashion. I hope this helps, because basically program governance can be a separate topic for 5 hours of a live stream. All right. Is this in your book? No, my book is about project management, but I would say that everything you need to run programs, except maybe some high-level organizations and how to tailor it to the actual needs, is there. So I'm pretty sure that in 80% of programs that you will face, you will need the level of project management explained in this book. So if you get into an organization that runs bigger programs and it does it uh, with something more complicated and sophisticated, that organization should have a lot of templates, processes described and explained for you. They shouldn't expect a random program manager to bring all this knowledge into an organization. All right. Thanks a lot. It was informative. You're welcome. I hope we removed a bit obscurity from program management. And if you were considering program management as your next step and you were delaying it because you think you lack skills, I would say your focus should be on improving project management first. And then maybe once you get into a program management role, you will see what's the landscape in your niche, in your area, what additional skills you lack. Then you may go and get the certification maybe on program management. But I would say you should expect that, like PMP, the certification, all certifications on program management will be purely theoretical, and in practice you will use just like maybe 20% of what they teach there. All right, guys. Any other questions? Let me see if we have something here. But indeed, because of technical stuff they execute, what do you need to know and understand them? Yeah, okay, Gleb. I've been sharing this multiple times, but basically what you need is to develop the technical awareness for yourself. And when you get into a project and you know the technological stuff that team use, the tech stack, it becomes much easier, because if you just like, I don't know, I need to learn everything there is in IT, it's overwhelming, it's very difficult. Once you're in a project, that's very simple. You literally take and capture in your phone or in any way any term that you don't know. Then you go into ChatGPT or you go into Google and you ask this guy what is and this term. And basically, you need to read only the first few paragraphs to capture the what it is, how it's used, like marketing aspect of a technology. If you use ChatGPT a lot and you know how to prompt it, the best way to do it is like, explain me the technical term as if I'm a 12-year-old person with some basic technical skill, the computer knowledge, and use metaphors that will like illustrate the concept of this technology. And one by one, you will start discovering these terms. And usually, when you do it, you get into the rabbit hole of new terms, because one term uses some another term that you don't know, and just by going through this rabbit hole, you can quickly develop the technical awareness. Okay, yeah, GBLot answered the correctly. I totally agree. You can use ChatGPT today. You can also go the other route. Okay, you can say, okay, I'm running an IT project and this is my niche, or this is the technology stack. Give me 200 major terms that I need to know as a project manager, or technical terms that I need to use, and then go through this list. All right. Yep. Okay, you guys rock here. I see that you answered Gleb very in depth, so I have nothing actually to add here. What was the tool you mentioned? What was the tool I mentioned? Which tool? I don't remember mentioning a tool. Paul, can you remind me which tool? Project management tool, you mean? All right. Sadie, I have one piece of advice to you. Like whenever such a thought creeps in, like I don't think I'm ready for to be a program manager. Maybe I need few more years as a PM. I would say that you should very carefully consider the criteria for when you're going to be ready. Otherwise, this is a very dangerous thought process, thinking I'm not ready, I'm not good enough, I don't have the skills. This leads to development of the imposter syndrome directly. If you don't have a plan, if you don't have the step-by-step things that you want to cover, then this will be a negative trail of thoughts. But if you have a clear path forward, then definitely it would help you to, first of all, you will cover those skill gaps much faster, because gaining experience is not that, it's overrated, I would say, because most probably you're sitting in the same company doing the same projects, and it feels like you're gaining more years of experience, but you're not expanding your skill set. That's why I recommend that you get the development plan, get through the list, and identify the areas that you lack. And you might, by the way, it's probable that you will say, okay, I know all of that, and it will help you to overcome the limiting beliefs, imposter syndrome, and any anxiety about putting yourself on the market as a program manager. All right, I got what you're asking, Paul. So I mentioned the PARA method. It's created by Tiago Forte. You can just Google it. PARA. It stands for Projects, Areas, Resources, and Archive. It's a structure. It's the way you structure your digital assets. So in essence, it means that you will have folders structured in this. So you basically will have four top-level folders: projects, and these are kind of initiatives. It's not the projects in the project management terminology. It's just ongoing initiatives. You will have areas. These are areas that you have to maintain most of the time. And this is something like performance reviews, progress reports, and stuff like that. Then you'll have resources. These are your knowledge bases like SOPs, workflows, documentation templates, and so on. And archive is everything that you finished as projects, and it shouldn't go into areas or resources, and you just archive it and store there. And you can easily return to these folders if needed. And the idea is that you have the files and folders organized in such a way. You have your all notes and wiki pages organized in the same way. So if you have projects in your task manager, and by the way, the task manager is also organized the same way. If you use Jira, you will have just projects, and then maybe you will have wiki pages separately. But if you use something like ClickUp, Asana, Trello, stuff like that, you can easily create subsections with projects, areas, and resources and archives. And the idea is that everything follows the same system, and it's easy to find the required resource. And if you are working on, for example, writing these sales scripts, so everything will be in one folder: invoices from sales agency, actual drafts of scripts, some files, and then you will have the same level of organization in task tracking system, where you will know what needs to be done. And Again, this is a very simple system, and it's usually easy to implement in an organization that doesn't have any kind of system. If you work in a big organization, then I would still recommend to use it for your personal organization stuff, because, like, let's be honest, no one taught us at school how to organize our digital life and digital assets. Notes, websites, PDFs, tasks, uh, everything is like all over the place and in different formats and different structures. This para method helps you to organize it, and just for your personal productivity, it's a great tool. So I'll spell it out, just para, so that you can easily find it. All right, guys, I think we'll wrap up here, and I hope to see you next time, next week. I will be planning another live session, and I'll think about the topic that will be most interesting to you. Thanks for staying with me, and thanks for your questions. If you have any other questions, feel free to reach out. If you know my email, I am always trying to reply to all your questions there. See you next time. Bye bye.